Hello everyone, I wanted to give a quick tutorial about how to make a really cute and really fun, useful Bitmoji virtual classroom. So as far as the background is concerned here, I didn't show you where I found it, but I found it in a Teacher Pay Teacher store, and I will go ahead and link that down below for anybody who wants to access similar backgrounds. These backgrounds are really easy, they are super helpful, it's a lot faster than just making your own background, and I also like to support other teachers in that way, so I've been making or using those backgrounds. Now I'm just adding some text onto my blackboard here. I like to use a blackboard or a whiteboard to give any kind of information my students might need throughout the week, to give them reminders, all of that good stuff, because most of your students already know to look to a blackboard or a whiteboard for information. After I've got that all set, I'm just adding in some fun and interesting clip art. You can see my watermelon couch. I'm quite proud of that watermelon couch. All of these clip arts are pieces that I've either made myself or they're coming directly from the Bitmoji app. You can Google search free furniture clip art and find a lot of them. And then if you need to add a transparent background, I just do that in Photoshop. I'm also adding some fun touches, so I like to include that coffee mug, for example, because I think it's funny and I think it's nice for my students to kind of get some kind of normalcy here for these different things, these different kind of items that they would see in a normal classroom. Now what I'm doing is I'm adding my icons. These icons are pretty important because they contain most of the material that my students are going to need for the week. So I use a Google Drive icon and a YouTube icon, and my students know to click on those and that those are going to give them the information that they need for the week. Aside from that, everything else is just optional. So I like to include a Google poll, that's what that vote box is. I like to include a game for them to play, that's what that game icon is. And I also like to include just extra touches. So for example, I've got a potted plant here. The potted plant is not going to eventually link to anything, but I think that they're pretty fun to include for my students. Now I'm trying to figure out what to add to that last little cubby hole there. I'm going to add another YouTube playlist. A lot of times though, if I'm actually using just a YouTube video of some type, I'll just take a screenshot of the cover of the YouTube video and then include that. What I'm creating now is a sign, and I'm going to tell my students to leave me a note on it. This sign is eventually going to link to a Google Jamboard. Google Jamboards are really cool. I'm having a lot of fun with them, and they just give your students a place to leave you little notes and little information. And I have a really fun time with it, and so do my students. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to start adding my link. So I've put all of those links in a Google Doc. Obviously you don't have to do that. And all that you're going to do is go to Insert Link after you click on the icon, and that's going to let you put those links in there. I like to include a link under the blackboard there that explains what to do in the classroom. I like to include a link that's an introduction to me on my Bitmoji, and from there I'm just linking to the Google Drive folder and the YouTube playlist for the week, as well as any extra games, any fun things that they might like to have access to throughout the week. Oh, now what I'm doing is I'm adding a coffee GIF. So I decided to do this not only because I think it's funny and because I think my students would like it, but also because I wanted to show you how to add pictures and that type of thing. If you need to add a picture that you want clickable so it can go kind of full screen, what you will do is you'll just upload that into the Google Drive. You'll make sure that you switch the settings there. You can see I've made it so anyone with the link can access it, and then you'll include that link just as you would any other link. Now what I'm doing is changing those share settings again. So you need to make sure that it's viewable to anybody outside of your organization, and also tell it to present. The present link is what you'll actually give to your students, although I'm using tiny URL there to make it a little more accessible. Now I've opened an incognito window. Incognito windows are super helpful to see what it'll look like to your students who are not logged into your Google account. I'm just testing out some of my different links there, making sure that my coffee GIF works. That one's pretty important. And just making sure everything is helpful.